It's a time for a package from China. Alright guys, it's time to collect them all, and this has nothing to do with Pokemon, by the way, just wanted to point it out. The Chinese are keep doing this. Nevertheless, it's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look at the Max 7-inch gaming fun with the game player X40. And it also comes in the Nintendo Switch colors like always, because they need to rip off the Nintendo Switch. So let's see what's inside the box. Alright guys, so this is what we're going to get inside the box. It's not a lot. Like always, the toilet paper manual with some basic explanations how the system works. Yep, that's it. Then we're having the old school, I almost wanted to say micro USB. There's the normal mini USB, yeah, still using it 2021 for charging the system. We're having the crappy headphones they really don't want to use, in my opinion. And then of course I'm going to have the AV out cable, but this time we're going to get stereo sound and the official composite output. No HDMI output. But let's take a close look also with the handheld, but because there's something else that I wanted to show you, because you cannot only buy this with the box, there is also an extra version that will give you this. It will give you some extra controllers. Yeah, but these are more like the fake PlayStation 2 controls like always. And the most horrible quality you can get. Oh man, they smell freaking chemical. And this is just not a really good experience what you're going to have with these controllers. But the thing is more, they want to have more like this plug and play handheld. You can also use for a game system. What's special about it, you can see we're having here the micro USB for the connections for the controllers. So yeah, normal USB or the mini USB for charging and the micro for the controllers. But let's take a close look and let's talk about the console itself or the handheld. When you're looking at the build quality and if you're looking at the thing that you're going to get, is for the people who are familiar to my channel, it's similar like the X12. Yep. If you ask me, they basically have ripped off the X12 shell and they just give it some new colors, a new name and some new features. What that features are, that we're going to take a close look at it later. But how good is the quality? So the feel itself, it weighs almost nothing and it's got a really cheap feel. So let's remove the plastics over here, because we don't going to need those. And it has more like a screen protector, a very cheap one. We're having the on and off switch over here. At the top we're going to find some different, let's say extra stuff that we don't have with the X12. So we're having the two ports for the controllers, volume control. And I have no idea why this has an extra on and off switch, because that makes no sense, because we're having a slider for on and off. Yeah. Okay, so we can add new games to this. I will make a separate tutorial for this, how you can add new stuff. Also did it with the previous models. So at the back you're going to get two speakers. That is an improvement of the previous models. Normally we're also going to get two speaker holes, but there was most of the time only one speaker in it. So that is an improvement. We're still going to get the shitty camera. I would say, please remove this and just give us more like a better display. I know that maybe this camera costs a couple of dollars to make, but just remove it. Nobody's going to use this. The portable multimedia. What the hell? Did they seriously mess this up? Whatever. It's more like having this Pokeball on it. Probably very naughty in my opinion. The 16GB edition. So on the bottom part there is nothing special. At the side there is the same story. So this is what you're going to get at the system itself. Basic horrible D-pad. The menu is slightly different. We're having two cheap slider joysticks. The escape. And we're having here the select and start. Okay, so for the people who are familiar to the X-Serie Handhelds, you can see that it's still using the same freaking boot intro. And this means they will use the same firmware or same kind of software. They did some minor improvement. Finally, we just have going to get a nice, decent menu, like having the software that it is basically supporting. So I'm very pleased with this. We're still having the shortcuts. I really hate these things, because if the game behind it gets corrupted or there is a problem, you are stuck with a dead link and there is no way to fix it. So yeah, the bottom part we're going to get theme, video, music, pictures, ebook recording, some other stuff like the shitty camera, and of course we're going to get to the settings. So we're having the display. With the display there's only the backlight, so let's see, you can put it a little bit brighter because it's very hard to see, and it's even on number 5, and number 5 is just the brightest setting because they are just using this basic LCD display, and it's a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. We have options like power saving, you can set the time and date, the language. This is for the TV out function, and basically when you're going to use the TV out function you need to go to the settings and set this to TV out, otherwise it will not work. And of course we're having also advanced, and in advanced you need to be very careful. So we're having here the key tune that you can change out, the effect settings. So that is basically something new because I have never seen it in a previous model. And format internal memory. Don't never do this, because if you do it, you will mess up your system big time. Alright, so let's start with the Mega Drive, but before we're going to play, let's press escape. You can see we're going back to the menu, and here we're having to quick load, quick save. Settings. There are some screen size options if you want to. This time it's on full screen, you have original screen, but it is not like the perfect aspect ratio. So that was always being a problem, and sadly with the new edition they didn't fix it. So let's return to the game. Let's boot up. Let's see if they fixed the problem with the jump button. Oh yeah, finally they listen to me. With all the X series we're having the problem that the button of the jumping was not configured, and you couldn't configure it whatsoever. So they fix it. You know how the game works. Punch him in the face, kick him in the balls. That's the way how you need to play. This guy doesn't work because he doesn't have a face, you just need to kick him in the balls, twice. The sound itself and emulation is not bad at all, so let's try another Mega Drive game, let's see how this one sounds. And for the people wondering, for Mega Drive you have no option to add a 32X game or a Sega CD game, so you're stuck with just the Genesis stuff. Just want to point it out. Kind of weird, because some of these emulators with different systems has the option to run those games. So weird, and a little bit disappointment. So the first edition of these handhelds has really big issues with this game. The sound is not like it should be. This game sounds really weird. But the frame rate seems to be decent enough, so they have fixed some stuff with the X40. Freaking finally. Sound effects are good. All the sound effects are here. Alright. Let's go to the 3D stage. Let's try this part out. Let's see how it's running. Oh. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Beefcake mode! It sounds just like it should be. Frame rate is dipping. Let me guess, turbo mode now? No, it's even slowing down now. Now it's going to play like normal. So this is going to be a problem. So Super Famicom is just, in my opinion, unplayable. So if you can enjoy games like this or in this way, it's all up to you, but I can say that it's not like it should be. You can see the frame rate is pretty horrible, and this is what we're going to call choppy gameplay. No, it's, in my opinion, just freaking awful. And the frame rate goes everywhere, like up, down. It's just no. In my opinion, they still didn't fix this. Alright, next up, let's try a different platform. See, that's what I find always so weird with these Chinese handhelds, that we're having another platform works fine, the other one runs like shit, and then we're having a game with fans, like the game works just fine. But don't get me wrong, more like fine is more like fine, that it runs decent enough to enjoy, because it will not be the same like on an open Dingook system. Alright, so I've plugged in the micro USB controller, and I must say it works like a charm. Plug and play, no configuration needed so far. Okay, the next thing I did is go to the settings, set it to NTSC, so basically we're having more like the better signal output, and it works very well. It looks probably quite awful in my opinion. I wish they had it in HDMI, but it's still quite a budget product. But okay, let's play some games. Let's try the ones who was running pretty fine, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Let's see how the game runs on the TV out. Does it still run fine? Or it's going to be pretty choppy? Okay, so the first impression, that the image itself looks very washed out, of course, because we're having this old signal and everything looks kind of weird. So the water is more getting purple than the original blue color. So the colors itself, it's not like it should be. The gameplay seems to be working the same like having it in handheld mode. Still having the same speed. So it's a really nice feature to have on a basic handheld like this. But let's be honest guys, so AV out function in 2021 is not the way how you're going to play. I would say make this thing, let's say €5 expensiver, and give us at least an HDMI signal output, or how much it costs, because an HDMI has just way better image quality, and this is not the way how you want to play it, man. Alright, so what do I think of this new X40? A part of me, they did surprise me with some things. For example, when you're looking at the Mega Drive, it was not running that bad. But sadly, when you're looking at some other games, they still have a lot of issues they didn't fix. So having these options to use this device like in game system is maybe a great feature, but the final product is of course quite awful. The horrible chemical feeling, pretty damn awful controllers is not the best thing you want to have with this. But yeah, I think it's more like a point. For the money we can't complain, because you're not paying a lot of more money for 2 extra controllers. When you're looking at the X40, the new handheld for 2021, the theme they are using, or basically ripping off, it looks quite awesome. But when you take a close look at the menu and everything, how it works, did they do some improvement? Yes, they did some improvements. So the menu looks a little bit more fancy, it's still very slow, it's still very choppy. And when it comes to the emulation, it's more like a mixed bag. It's really to cry for, because when you're looking at a Super Famicom, a lot of these handhelds can run it flawlessly, and this X40 still has the same freaking issues like 2 years ago. So that is something that really pisses me off, to be honest. The Mega Drive, they fixed it, but it's more like you're buying not an expensive handheld. But nowadays, with this X40, we're having so many options when it comes to the same price amount. It's more like you're getting basically a 7-inch handheld that looks kind of fancy, but it's still more like a mixed bag when it comes to the product quality and how it works and overall. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.